Real people, real confessions, the stories you weren't supposed to hear. Welcome to Beyond Reddit Stories. They say babysitting is easy money, just snacks, cartoons, and bedtime stories. But no one warned me about the kind of nightmare that doesn't come from a scary movie, but from real life. That one night changed everything. I've never babysat again, and I never will. I was 16, freshly licensed, and desperately trying to save up for my first car. Babysitting seemed like the perfect gig, low stress, decent pay, and honestly, I liked kids. It wasn't my first job. I'd done a few casual babysitting nights before for family friends, usually just a few hours with a sleeping toddler while I watched Netflix and raided the fridge. This one, though, was different from the start. My mom's coworker, let's call her Rachel, needed a last-minute sitter. She had just moved to our neighborhood, knew no one, and her regular sitter had bailed. My mom, always eager to volunteer me for things, gave her my number. Rachel called me in a panic, offering double the usual rate for just one evening. "He's really sweet," she said about her son. "Just 6. He'll be asleep most of the night, I promise." That should have been the first red flag when a parent promises things about a child. I agreed. What teenager says no to easy money? She needed me from 7 p.m. to midnight while she went to a dinner party. I showed up early, wearing a hoodie and carrying a backpack with snacks and a paperback I planned to ignore. Rachel's house was beautiful, not just nice fancy. Marble countertops, white carpets, scented candles, the kind of place where you don't breathe too hard in case you break something. She greeted me in heels, a cocktail dress, and a perfect smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. Her son, let's call him Mason, peeked out from behind her, clutching a stuffed giraffe and staring at me like I was some kind of alien. He didn't speak, not even when I knelt to say hi. He just nodded. Rachel brushed it off. He's shy at first, but he warms up fast. Then she handed me the emergency numbers, kissed Mason on the forehead, and was gone before I could ask anything else. That's when the house felt weird. Still, too still. The first hour went by without much incident. Mason didn't say a word, but he followed me around the house like a shadow. He wasn't rude, just quiet, too quiet for a 6-year-old. I tried to engage him with cartoons, board games, even some fruit snacks I brought. But he just sat silently on the couch, hugging his giraffe, staring at the TV without blinking much. I remember texting a friend around 8:30. "This kid's like a haunted doll, not crying, not moving. I feel like I'm babysitting a ghost," she replied with a laughing emoji. I didn't laugh. Around 9 p.m., I told Mason it was time for bed. He didn't object. He simply got up and walked down the hallway to his room. No tantrum, no resistance. Okay, weirdly easy, too easy. When I tucked him in, he looked at me and finally spoke. First words of the night. In a flat, calm voice, he said, "Don't go in the basement." I blinked. What? He just turned his head away from me and pulled the blanket up to his chin. I laughed nervously. Got it. Basement's off limits. Cool. But, of course, now all I could think about was the basement. After I made sure Mason was asleep, I tiptoed back to the living room. I tried to read, but my eyes kept drifting down the hall toward the door I assumed led to the basement. What was down there? Old furniture, creepy mannequins, some dark family secret. At 10:15, I heard a noise, a metallic clank, then a soft dragging sound. It came from the basement. I froze. My heart thudded in my ears. Maybe it was the furnace, maybe a pipe, maybe I imagined it. And then I heard it again, louder. Clank, drag, clank, drag. It didn't sound mechanical. It sounded human. I grabbed my phone and crept to the basement door. I didn't want to open it. God knows I didn't. But I had this terrible, crawling feeling like I had to. Like if I didn't, something would come out. The door wasn't locked. It creaked open an inch with the lightest touch. Inside the stairwell was pitch black. No light switch in sight. Just darkness and the sound of my own breathing. Then a voice floated up. A man's voice. "Is someone there?" I slammed the door shut so hard the house shook. My fingers trembled as I gripped the doorknob, heart hammering like it was trying to burst out of my chest. I locked the basement door, bolted it shut, and even shoved a chair in front of it. I wasn't taking any chances. I ran to Mason's room. He was still asleep, clutching his giraffe, How? How could he be sleeping through this? I wanted to wake him, ask him, who the hell is in the basement? But some instinct stopped me, a deep-rooted fear I couldn't shake. I went back to the living room and paced. Should I call the police? His mom. But what would I even say? Hey, there's a mysterious man in your basement. Your 6-year-old warned me not to go down there. Yeah, that wouldn't sound insane at all. Then at 10:34 p.m. the lights went out, all of them, a total blackout. I grabbed my phone and turned on the flashlight. My hands were slick with sweat. I backed into a corner of the living room, staring toward the hallway. The house was dead silent. Even the hum of the refrigerator was gone. And then, the basement door creaked open. I swear to God I locked it. I bolted it. I stared, flashlight beam trembling in my hand, as the door slowly drifted open. No wind, no draft, nothing to explain it. The chair I'd wedged under the knob was tipped over on its side. That's when I saw the hand, just barely, reaching around the doorframe, pale, dirty, fingernails cracked and yellowed. I couldn't scream, I couldn't move. It was like my body had disconnected from my brain. Then the voice came again. I'm cold. Not threatening, not angry, just sad, like a plea. I ran, I know, not heroic, not proud, but I ran into Mason's room, locked the door, and curled up beside him under the blankets like they could protect me from whatever was down there. I waited and waited. No footsteps, no sounds, no light, just silence. At some point, I must have fallen asleep from sheer terror. When I opened my eyes, sunlight was filtering through the blinds. Mason was gone. I bolted upright, but then I heard him laughing in the kitchen. His mom was home. I raced out to her, adrenaline still buzzing in my blood. She smiled. Morning, how is everything? I stared at her. You have someone in your basement. Her smile faltered for a millisecond, just a flicker. What? Last night, there was a man. I heard him. He opened the door. She blinked, then laughed. Oh, the basement. No one's down there. We've had some wiring issues. You probably heard the old water heater. It clunks all the time. She handed me a wad of cash. Thanks again, Mason really liked you. I didn't argue. I didn't push. I took the money and walked out of that house and never looked back. But here's the thing, I went back. 2 days later, I couldn't stop thinking about it. The house was empty. A for sale sign on the lawn, no sign of the family, no forwarding address, just gone. I peeked in through a window. The place was stripped clean. Even Mason's giraffe was gone. But the basement door, still slightly ajar. I don't know what I saw. I don't know who or what was down there. Maybe it was just an old heater making noises. Maybe I imagined the voice. Maybe fear twisted everything in my mind until nothing made sense anymore. But I know what I felt. That wasn't a water heater. That wasn't a draft. That wasn't normal. And what haunts me most isn't the hand, it's Mason. His blank stare, his calm voice. You don't want to go down there. How did he know? What did he see? What was he living with every single day while smiling, playing with toys, hugging his giraffe? And where did they go? Why did they leave so suddenly? No one in the neighborhood seems to know. One of the neighbors even told me that the house had been empty for months before I babysat there. That doesn't make any sense. I never babysat again, not because of some irrational fear, but because I think that house changed something in me. It cracked a part of my reality, a part I can't unsee. So if you're ever asked to babysit at a house you've never been to, if the kid tells you not to go somewhere, listen. Thanks for listening to this story. If it gave you chills, made you think twice about babysitting or basements, hit that like button. Share it with someone who loves a good mystery. And don't forget to subscribe for more eerie, emotional, and unforgettable real-life stories. Who knows? The next one might just keep you up at night.